Curious George discovers space. Are you curious about outer space? George is too.
Come.
Along and
See.
what's happening at the Space Center? Professor Wiseman invited George and his friend, the man with the yellow hat, to visit her at the Space Center. Professor Einstein and Professor Pizza needed
Help.
and she thought they might be able to lend a hand, or more than one, as it turned out. How can we
help?
The scientists began to brief the man on his first mission, to restock the space station's food supply. The astronauts on the station
had
discovered they had only one peanut left to
eat.
The man with the yellow hat was planning to ride a space shuttle up through Earth's atmosphere into
Space.
He would enter orbit around Earth and pass near the space station in order to make his delivery. The man would get to experience weightlessness. How would
you like
to float inside a spaceship? Of course, George was disappointed that he wouldn't be able to come along. But in order for the man to release the supplies, he needed to be able to
push
4 buttons at the same time. The man only had 2 hands. He couldn't do that, but a monkey could. George was thrilled to
help.
The hungry scientists on the space station would soon have more than one peanut to
eat.
George would also deliver some new supplies to help them with science experiments. You must launch the payload at exactly the
right
moment, Professor Einstein said to George. George nodded. He would have to
listen
to instructions carefully. Do you think that would be hard for one little monkey? Liftoff was a success. But then George wanted to
look
at the supplies. He took them out to
play,
but he couldn't get them back
inside
quickly enough. George missed the payload launch. He passed right by the space station
without
sending the supplies. George would have to orbit Earth one
more time.
George, you have enough fuel for only one
more
orbit. You have to get the supplies back
in
their containers. The next time you pass the station will be the
last
chance. Then we have to bring you home, warned Professor Wiseman. George was used to cleaning his room. It was good practice for cleaning up the mess in the spaceship. He was ready
in time
to launch the supplies. Hooray! They made it to the space station. George had one more task to complete. He had to make it back to the ground safely. To do this, the shuttle had to re-enter Earth's atmosphere at the
right
moment. It was a
good thing.
George listened to instructions this time. He
pulled
the lever that controlled the ship's direction. He could now land the ship back at the Space Center. His friends congratulated him on a successful mission. On to our next problem, said Professor Pizza once the shuttle mission was over. We are having trouble with our Mars rover. The controls are
getting
stuck here at the Space Center. We are
worried
that when it actually lands on Mars, it will also get stuck on the rocks, added Professor Einstein. A Mars rover is a vehicle specially made for
exploring
the red planet and sending information back to Earth. the man explained. They're testing the
new,
rover here at the Space Center. George thought the Mars rovers would be
fun, to, jive,
but he soon learned that they are operated by remote control only. Professor Einstein offered everyone a piece of chewing gum as he explained the sticky situation in the Space Control Center. "You know there's a no-gum rule in here, Einstein," said Professor Pizza. You're...
right,
said Professor Einstein. He opened a large metal drawer and threw his gum
out.
George was excited to see the launch of the latest Mars rover. He hoped they could figure out the problem together. They sat around a table to talk and plan. The man asked, "Since Mars has lower gravity than Earth, is it possible the problem wouldn't even happen there?" Professor Pizza agreed. "That's certainly possible. If the
Pull,
of Earth's gravity is causing the sticking, it might not stick in Mars' low gravity." "With the lower gravity on Mars, you would be 3 times stronger there," said Professor Wiseman. "The rover sticks. Maybe we can get it going again by giving it a..."
good, push,
George imagined how strong he would be on Mars. George wanted to,
help,
but he was,
tired,
and nothing puts a monkey to sleep like a lot of adults talking. The last thing George heard the man saying was, "If only we could send someone to Mars to..."
push, it,
George fell fast asleep. He dreamed he was
going,
to be the first monkey headed to Mars. In his dream, Professor Wiseman told him, "It's an important mission, George. If the rover sticks, your job is to give it a..."
good, push,
The man was going on a space mission with George. How lucky! George wouldn't be lonely on his trip. With the ship finally landed on Mars, George was
sitting,
on top of the Mars rover. When it was released, he went with it. The rover bounced along the surface of the red planet. George was
on,
a runaway vehicle. Lucky for George, he found the remote that controlled the rover. He was able to
slow, down,
the rover. Whew! He also had a book about the Mars terrain. Now he could explore Mars. George rolled up to a very deep, very wide valley that looked like the Grand Canyon, only much larger. The book told him it was called the Valles Marineris. George also found the Olympus Mons, the highest volcano in our solar system. It had a great view. He wished his friend could enjoy it too. At last, George could
see,
where his rocket had landed. He began to
jive,
the rover back toward the spaceship. But that's when the rover got stuck. George opened a panel and discovered great big globs of green gum were clogging up the controls. No wonder it kept sticking. Luckily, in the low gravity of Mars, George was able to
use,
his super strength to pick up the vehicle and carry it back to the ship. That was when George woke
up,
from his dream. Now he knew why the real Mars rover was getting stuck. He led the scientists back to the control room and pointed out a gummed-up panel. Professor Einstein had been using the rover control system as a trash bin by accident. "Oops," the professor said. "Do you think the Mars rover was able to launch after all?" After the control panel had been cleaned, of course. "It's a..."
good, thing,
"Monkeys are dreamers," the man said. George agreed. He had many dreams
big,
as the one about traveling to Mars. Next stop, Pluto.